Deion is not Peter North. He does not finish. He's not won a final game in his 4 seasons as a college coach. That's extremely disappointing. This game in particular was appallingly disappointing.
Yeah.
This is the last time probably you're going to ride out with your 2 sons and Travis. You have your whole roster play, you get extra insurance for everybody, and then you go out and play like that. If you do nothing about college football or conferences or alignment, and you watch that game, you're like, well, damn, this BYU team must be in a different conference or a different level.
SEC.
Yeah. And that's definitely the way it looked and felt as it played out. And again, that's why it's so just miserably disappointing from Colorado to play that poorly.
Without your top gunners, without Shadur, without Travis, without Shiloh for what it's worth, what are the realistic expectations for next season? What did you take away from the Colorado's performance? Like I said, we missed a week, so we're kind of behind a little bit. But, they just do a complete no-show.
Deion is not Peter North. He does not finish. He's not won a final game in his 4 seasons as a college coach. That's extremely disappointing. This game in particular was appallingly disappointing.
Yeah.
This is the last time probably you're going to ride out with your 2 sons and Travis. You have your whole roster play, you get extra insurance for everybody, and then you go out and play like that. Now, BYU, to their credit, was well prepared. They won the game of trenches on both sides of the ball. They were excellent. Credit to them. But the Colorado was a no-show. They didn't bring anything to the table.
I watched that. I watched most of the game.
I did too.
Mid fourth quarter, I couldn't take it any more punishment. But it was like, as I'm watching the game, entering the second quarter, I'm thinking to myself, damn, is this just a mismatch of like power? They don't seem like they belong on the same field. I didn't think that way of BYU. I didn't know that they were in such of a different class than Colorado, because that's what it looked like.
Well, that's another game where there's teams, they're in the same conference.
Yeah.
You don't even have like a conference disparity.
Yeah.
You're 2 teams from the
Big 12. But that's how it looked.
Oh no, and I agree completely. If you do nothing about college football or conferences or alignment, and you watch that game, you're like, well, damn, this BYU team must be in a different conference or a different level.
SEC.
Yeah. And that's definitely the way it looked and felt as it played out. And again, that's why it's so just miserably disappointing from Colorado to play that poorly.
Yeah, especially with your stars. Now, and this is what I'm saying. Like, I don't know, and we kind of touched on this before, but moving into the next season, without your top gunners, without Shadur, without Travis, without Shiloh for what it's worth, what are the realistic expectations for next season? What is a season where you afterwards you look at it and say, job well done, Deion? Do we keep harping on, this was a 2 how long does he keep the excuse of, hey, this was a 2-12?
He can't. This is one of the reasons why I felt he needs to leave.
This was the perfect time.
He's not going to do any better. Again, he did not have an amazing recruiting class. He brought in a 5-star quarterback. He has not had an amazing transfer class. Now, interestingly, they did get a transfer quarterback, Caden Salter, who's was a guy I was interested in for Florida State. I think he's a good player. But the combination of you're bringing in Julian Lewis, you don't fully trust him if you're bringing in Salter at the same time. And I'm not saying you should trust an absolute freshman quarterback. That's, I think, a reality that Deion's accepted, is that, like, I have to play to a certain standard or this all falls apart.
Yeah.
I can't, roll it out an 18-year-old freshman next fall and live or die with him with what I've got on this roster. So I don't think there's a lot of great upside for Colorado. And again, the recruiting and the transfer portal work is not there. They've got some kids, but they're not bringing in, top 10 class of high school recruits, and I don't think they're bringing in a top 10 portal class. No. So what do you got? Yeah. The 2 most talented players you're ever going to have in the program are gone.
Yeah.
I don't see it. If you look realistically and say, well, what would be a successful season? If they got 8 wins next year with what they appear to have right now, that'd probably be a very good season. You know.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely see how, because you still have a second wave of
Portal business.
of portal business.
Yeah, for
so,
sure. So, and of the guys that are currently in the portal, they basically have, if they want to commit and go somewhere, they have until essentially the start of classes. So that'll be, probably first, second, maybe in some circles as late as the third week of January. I don't know all the school schedules. But to be eligible to participate in spring football and move forward with the program, you'd have to be enrolled at the start of semester. So, there's still some people that could be committed. I think the portal window, except for the teams in the playoff who are just finishing playing, is closed for teams that are out of the mix already. So there may be a limited amount of new names, but the other side of that would be new names from good teams,
right?
Because they're in the playoff. So that's something to do. But I don't see a lot of optimism for Colorado, and that's why I felt Deion's probably best served to leave.
Yeah.
The other thing that's kind of like just popping off crazy right now is tampering, and you have a ton of stories. The Boise State coach said it. The UConn coach said it. There's the story about Quinn Ewers, somebody offering him a big bag. Now, my understanding of the rule is that when a player goes in the portal, it's open season to contact him, communicate, whatever. But, there's clearly a lot of communication going on to guys that haven't entered the portal yet as to what they might expect to see if they do.
And it's so interesting on Ewers because of course his stock had dropped this season.
Yeah.
But you still have the playoffs to play. But getting ahead of it and anticipating maybe he has a bad game or the season just ends abruptly. You put it in his ear. Hey, we have 6 to 8 over here for you. Weigh that against whatever a rookie contract would be, and if you want to, go in the second or third round now, or come over here with us for an extra year and boost your stock up as a top 3, top 2
hopefully
pick.
boost your stock up. Yeah,
hopefully,
that's the thing. So I mean, it does. If the money's that good, it makes an interesting choice. If the money's going to be better, under an NIL deal with a particular school right now versus what you're going to make as a non-first round pick, you really kind of have to think. But with the non-first round pick, there are some guarantees in a contract particularly of a higher drafted guy. But certainly if you're a guy that projects, like I would say after the third round, so if you're a 4th to 7th round guy and any college is offering you a decent bag, you got to take it.
Yeah.
Because you don't have any 4th to 7th round. There's no guarantee you make the team coming out of camp. That's that's where you're at there. So if somebody's gonna guarantee a couple million to you to participate in that, you might as well take it.
No, 100%. Guys, don't forget you're still on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. We're available on all, and I do mean all podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff.